Hey, Shalom Makim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Once again, I'm going to say Kol Halal, which is all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us his truth. And as always, much peace, love, and salutation to the elect of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, the elect of the nation of Israel, pushing this word with all truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming back today with another lesson. And the Lord willing, this lesson will be to the point and edifying. And I wanted to do a quick lesson based upon this article that you see here on the screen. It reads here, it says, Dems move to transfer air defense systems from the Saudis to Ukraine as punishment. Now, what this is going to do, this is first and foremost, this is Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, all right, acting within the theater of war. And as the scripture says, let's actually open up with this scripture first in Proverbs, the 21st chapter, all right? Because all this is what this is going to do is just going to cause more tension and stir up more anger with these different nations that are in league with Babylon, which is going to cause them to turn on the whore, which is prophecy, right? This is Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. And you know that word heart in the Hebrew, which is la'ab, which means mind. All right, so Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is the ultimate, he's the ultimate one that's in control when it comes to these different nations doing particular things, whether it be Russia, whether it be America, Vladimir Putin, Joe Biden, these different leaders of these different countries. All right, it's all operating in the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai at the end of the day. So it says the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. You see that? So the Lord turns the minds of these different individuals to act according to his purpose at the end of the day. You see? So nobody's doing anything on the planet Earth right now based upon their own will or based upon what they feel like, what they think that they're doing, I'd rather say, right? Now, I'm gonna read this title again. It says, Dems move to transfer air defense systems from Saudis to Ukraine as punishment. Now, we know that America has deals with Saudi Arabia in regards to something called OPEC, which is which OPEC, I want to say it stands for like Operation of Petroleum Export Countries, something of that nature. I know Petroleum Export Countries is short for the PEC, but I forgot what the O stands for. All right, but pretty much the deals that they have is that if these different countries, which Saudi Arabia is an oil-rich country, if they transfer, oil, or I'd rather say sell oil in American dollars, all right, fiat currency, then what would happen is that the United States would pretty much grant Saudi Arabia with weaponry, pretty much as a deal, right? But now here it is with Ukraine. Let's actually read the article so y'all can see for yourselves, right? So it says here, it says a group of leading congressional Democrats are seeking to punish longtime U.S. ally Saudi Arabia for the latest shock oil output cuts recently announced by OPEC. You see, and OPEC just isn't Saudi Arabia. It's a nation, or it's a conglomerate of different countries that are oil rich, and they're stating that they're going to do a pretty much a mass cut of the pretty much the pumping of oil, right, and the selling of oil. So it's going to cause oil prices to increase. Okay, it says which was taken by the Biden administration as a direct slap in the face and shot across the bow. You see, so the Biden administration is looking at these OPEC cuts as a slap in the face, man. Like, okay, bet, right? Continuing on, Senator Chris Murphy and Republican Ro Khanna are leading the charge to get advanced anti-air missile systems, which the Pentagon has stationed in Saudi Arabia, removed and transferred to Ukraine. So now look, so they're going to remove the weaponry that's already in Saudi Arabia and look to transfer that over to Ukraine. What's that going to do? that's going to do nothing more than anger Saudi Arabia and cause them to cut their ties, cut more political deals and cut ties with America, and cause them to look elsewhere to pretty much sell their oil, like Russia. Okay. It says the systems were sent there over the past several years following an uptick in missile and drone attacks by Yemeni Houthi rebel attacks on Saudi cities and energy infrastructure coming from the south. Murphy announced in his Thursday statement, for several years, the U.S. military has deployed Patriot missile defense batteries to Saudi Arabia to help defend oil infrastructure against missile and drone attacks. Those advanced air and missile defense systems should be redeployed to bolster the defenses of eastern flank NATO allies like Poland and Romania. So they want to take these weapons that are in Saudi Arabia currently, that was sold to Saudi Arabia, right, and transfer them over to the eastern flank of NATO allies, pretty much right on Russia's back door. Because ultimately, what this is going to do is, what NATO is trying to do is they're trying to bolster their defenses for this next world's war. And World War III is right around the corner. Okay, it says are transferred to our Ukrainian partners. So they want to either put them in Poland, Romania, or transfer them to Ukraine. You see that? So continuing on, as members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Murphy also lent his voice to ongoing calls to freeze new military aid to Saudi Arabia. See that? So they want to freeze any kind of military aid going to Saudi Arabia now because of this. And like I said, what's this going to do? This is going to do nothing more than just anger, all right, Saudi Arabia and those different OPEC countries, man. It makes me think about Joel the 3rd chapter. Joel chapter 3, verse 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, which are the actual heathen, right? Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come down. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. And that's what's happening. You have these different alliances in these different countries, which necessarily wasn't so-called strong enough to deal with America on a one-to-one basis. But now with these different pacts, with the main leagues being NATO, the EU, and Russia, and their different allies and counterparts, and the BRICS nations and things of that nature, all right, the war drums are beaten. You see? And what's going to happen is that these different NATO allies and these different EU allies, what's that going to do? They're eventually going to turn on America, man, because that's what's coming next. See? Let me get a few more prophecy or a few more precepts, and I'm going to wrap it up. So I don't want this to be too long. It says, as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Murphy also lent his voice to ongoing calls to freeze new military aid to Saudi Arabia, which would possibly impact the pending sale and transfer of advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles to Riyadh, based on a previously approved contract of $650 million. See that? So they want to stop. They pretty much want to stop their sale of weapons, and ultimately this is going to put Esau into a trick bag. Ultimately, that's what it's going to do. That's why the scripture says in the book of Obadiah. Actually, get that real quick. In the book of Obadiah, it says, verse 7: all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. And to be confederate means to have a contract or an agreement. That word confederacy, I want to say, is bara'ath. All right. Let's see, confederacy. Barayath, excuse me. Barayath. All right. And that word confederacy here means Edom and its allies, treaty, alliance, league. You see? So all the allies that Esau has, the men of his confederacy, is going to bring him even to the border. They're going to turn against Esau, man, in the last days, and we clearly see that happening. And the Lord is putting the spirit upon Esau to do particular things with its allies for them to turn. You see, even of their own people. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. You see that? So the men that were at peace with Esau, ultimately they deceived him. You see? It says, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. And bread goes into debt. It goes into money. It goes into weaponry. You see? That word bread is lacham, right? Lacham. How you say bread in the Hebrew. It says bread, food, which goes into physical bread or physical food. But also it says, eat my bread, establishing an obligation. You see, and the obligation that was set between OPEC, or I'd rather say with Saudi Arabia, is that, look, you're obligated to sell your oil in American dollars, and we're going to be obligated to send forth weapons. So now, with them stopping the sending of weaponry, that obligation has been broken. That covenant or that treaty has been broken. You see? And now these different nations are going to look elsewhere, which is going to ultimately leave America isolated and Esau isolated. There is none understanding in him, you see, and he doesn't have no understanding. You see, that Esau is being trapped, and there is no understanding in him regarding his actions, because ultimately prophecy is being fulfilled. Okay? Let's see. Let's go into the 2018 killing of that journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. Let's see. And that's pretty much it. And this also goes into, we'll end it off on this one, the dragons of Arabia. Right. 2nd Ezra 15 and 28. It says, behold, in horrible vision. You see, because when World War III hits, man, it's going to be a horrible sight, man. It's going to be very bloody. It's going to be with burning and fuel of fire, man. It says, and the parents thereof from the east. Okay? And it's not Saudi Arabia within the east. Yes, it is. Right? It says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. And the dragons of Arabia is talking about Saudi Arabia and their allies, man. See, which they're gonna have tanks, they're gonna have helicopters, they're gonna have missiles, you know, and a lot of the things that they're gonna have is gonna come by way of different other deals and contracts that they have with Russia, you see, and other NATO and EU allies, right? And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. You see that? Also the Carmanians raging and wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. And the Carmanians here are talking about the Iranians or the Persians. So they're gonna pretty much team up. Which Iran, you know, Iran is a major piece of prophecy too. You see? So the Carmanians are gonna team up, or the Iranians gonna team up with Russia, Saudi Arabia, different other NATO allies, different other EU allies. You see Pakistan, China. America gonna be isolated, right? And with great power shall they come and join battle with them. You see, they're gonna join battle with who? Saudi Arabia, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. See that? Which we also know that the land of Assyria in modern day time today, according to prophecy, right, goes into America. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, because the scripture says that that Ishmael shall be a wild man. You see? So they're going to remember their nature and go back to that wild state. And if it says that if they shall turn themselves, conspire, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled. Bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. You see that, and that's all leading into World War III. You see all these different nations that, you know, at one point were like pretty much with America. They're gonna conspire against this place. It would clearly see the theater of war happening, to whereas that's what's coming next. You see? So, you know, I just want to do a real quick lesson on this. You know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the elect of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Hakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Shalom.